Ask most people to name Australia's deadliest animal and you'll get the same handful of answers every time. The saltwater crocodile, the box jellyfish, the inland taipan, technically the most venomous snake on Earth, maybe a shark if they've seen the right headlines. Every one of those answers is wrong, according to 20 years of coronial data covering over 700 animal-related deaths across the country, and the actual answer isn't dangerous in any way that involves venom, teeth, or a warning growl at all. Hit subscribe for more content like this. What the data actually says, the National Coronial Information System tracked animal-related deaths across Australia between 2001 and 2021, recording 713 fatalities over that 20-year span, an average of roughly 34 deaths a year. When researchers broke that number down by species, the results didn't match public perception even slightly. Sitting at the very top of the list, responsible for 222 deaths, nearly a third of the entire 20-year total, is the horse. Not the crocodile, not the shark. The horse, an animal most Australians would associate with childhood riding lessons and picture book farms rather than mortality statistics. The overwhelming majority of these deaths involved falls, riders thrown from horses during everyday riding activity rather than anything resembling a deliberate attack. The list gets stranger from there. If horses topping the list feels surprising, the rest of the ranking doesn't get any more intuitive. In second place, with 92 recorded deaths, are cattle. Just under half of those resulting from road traffic accidents involving livestock rather than direct physical encounters. Dogs come in third, with 82 deaths, roughly split between bites and falls, an unusual category that includes incidents where a dog's presence contributed indirectly to a person's fatal accident rather than a direct attack. It isn't until fourth place that a genuinely native Australian animal finally appears on the list, and even then, the kangaroo's 53 recorded deaths have nothing to do with claws or aggression. Every single one involved a vehicle collision, animals colliding with cars on rural roads rather than any direct physical confrontation with a person. Only after cattle, dogs, and kangaroos do the animals most people ASOM dominate this list finally show up. Snakes account for 50 deaths across the full 20-year period, with fatalities concentrated most heavily among elderly victims. Bees caused 45 deaths, every single one the result of severe allergic reactions rather than the toxicity of the sting itself. Sharks, despite dominating headlines and publicity nation more than almost any other animal on this list, caused 39 deaths. Saltwater crocodiles, the animal most tourists arrive genuinely afraid of, caused 25. Why the data looks like this? The explanation isn't that Australia's famously dangerous wildlife is somehow less dangerous than advertised. Venom for venom, an inland taipan bite really can theoretically kill dozens of people, and a box jellyfish sting really can stop a human heart within minutes. What the coronial data AC2ly reflects is something much simpler. Frequency of interaction, combined with modern medical response, changes the entire equation. Snakebite antivenom, developed and refined across the 20th century, has made a bite that would have been reliably fatal a century ago, survivable in the overwhelming majority of modern cases, provided treatment arrives quickly enough. Shark encounters, while genuinely terrifying in the moment, remain statistically rare events relative to the sheer number of people who swim and surf along Australian coastlines every single day without incident. Crocodile attacks, though catastrophic when they do occur, are concentrated in specific, well-signposted regions that most of the country's population never visits. Horses, cattle, and dogs, by contrast, are animals ordinary Australians interact with constantly, on farms, at riding schools, in suburban backyards, multiplied across millions of routine encounters every year. When you multiply a small individual risk by an enormous number of total interactions, the raw death count climbs in a way that venomous, headline-grabbing predators, encountered comparatively rarely, simply can't match. Putting it in perspective, zoom out even further, and the picture becomes almost absurd. Australian Bureau of Statistics figures for 2023 recorded 494 deaths from assault or homicide in that single year alone, compared with just 36 total deaths from every single animal species combined: snakes, spiders, sharks, crocodiles, jellyfish, and every other creature the continent is famous for, added together. Drowning claims roughly 290 lives a year. Road accidents claim over 1,000. Against those numbers, even the horse, Australia's most prolific animal killer, barely registers as a statistical threat compared to how Australians actually tend to lose their lives. What this actually tells us, none of this means Australia's reputation for dangerous wildlife is undeserved. The country generally is home to some of the most venomous creatures on the planet, and encountering the wrong animal under the wrong circumstances without quick access to treatment remains a real and serious risk. But the coronial record makes one thing clear. The animals people are trained by pop culture and tourism warnings to fear the most are, statistically, among the least likely to actually kill them. The horse standing quietly in a paddock, saddled up for an afternoon ride, has claimed more Australian lives over the past 2 decades than crocodiles, sharks, and snakes combined. Not because it's more dangerous in any single encounter, but because Australians climb onto the backs of horses far more often than they ever cross paths with an inland taipan, and it's that sea of vellum of ordinary, everyday interaction, not venom or teeth, that actually decides who tops the list.